Welcome to Light Warrior Radio, where our mission is to empower sensitive souls to harness their superpowers and shine their light, so together we can co-create heaven on earth. I'm your host, Dr. 𝗟𝗡𝗟𝗣, author of the #1 best-selling book, Sensitivity is Your Superpower, and founder of the Academy of Light Medicine and the 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗟𝗣 Healing Method. Thank you for joining me. All right, let's talk about spirituality. Being spiritual and being a spiritual person doesn't mean that we're always nice. Okay, let's unpack that a little bit. So when I was growing up, I pretty much was the one shy kid that always wanted to be nice to people. You know? Yeah, because I was taught turn the other cheek. I was taught to, always be a good person. And I misinterpreted that as be a doormat. Anybody know that one? Yeah. So yeah, I was a doormat. I was bullied, as so many of us are. I don't know anybody that has not been bullied at some point in their life unless they were the bully. So being spiritual doesn't mean necessarily being nice. Now, if I had to rewind back to certain scenarios where I was bullied, I'll give you one example. So I'm coming home from school. I can't remember how old I was, but I was terrified of these two kids because they would just, as I'm walking home, and I'm literally like 5 doors from my house, right? I'd practically want to run, not walk past their home. But oftentimes they just were just waiting for me. So in this one occasion, I think I was with one of my siblings, and I can't remember which one. But anyway, so yeah, these two boys were taunting me, and one grabbed hold. It was cold and it was in Canada during the winter. Okay, so one took hold of one end of my scarf and the other took hold of the other, and they both pulled in opposite directions. Now, I remember the scene, to be honest. It didn't actually choke me, but I pretended it did, so they would just kind of like laugh and do whatever they do and let go and just, you know, take off. I think what happened was I think my sibling reported it to my mom. She was not happy about that. Yeah, so it was nice. I was nice to them. Pretended to cry. Maybe I did cry. I don't know. Anyway, another scenario. Walking home, not walking home, sorry. This is walking to lunch. There we go. So we had an hour or something for lunch. Well, for most of the lunch, I was being terrorized by a bully. They called her Moose. Not a very nice name, but anyway. Her name was Carolyn, but they called her Moose. And so on the way to the babysitters, I'd be terrorized by her. And during, the winter, yeah, Canada has a lot of winter. I'd be pummeled with, snowballs, ice balls the whole way, to the walk. I would have so little time for lunch that I would finally get there, down my lunch, right? And then I'd have the harrowing walk back to school, hoping that I wouldn't meet with the bully. Now, I was raised in, Catholic school and, turn the other cheek, the whole bit. So I was literally doing that, right? Being nice. And the funny thing is the bully even said, you know what I like about you? You don't fight back. And you're always so nice. I think she was annoyed, actually, that I was always so nice, right? But I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. And let's just say, being a light warrior and being spiritual and even loving is not about being a doormat. It's not about having weak and pathetic boundaries like I did as a child. So I want you to reimagine this scenario right now. And reimagine, how could a light warrior be actually both spiritual and courageous and not necessarily be nice? So here's the thing. let me ask you this. In those scenarios when I was nice to those bullies, who was I not nice to? Oh, yeah, you know already, right? Myself. I didn't have the self-esteem. I didn't have the training. I didn't have anyone telling me, hey, it's okay to protect yourself. And it's not okay for someone else to abuse you. So I was nice to others, but I was not nice to myself because I had those weak boundaries, didn't really see or get modeled how to be assertive, stand up for myself until much later. Anybody know that one? Yeah. So going back, what would have happened with these two boys if, and I was fully capable, I was bigger than they were, like, it's kind of ridiculous, but, they're pulling on my scarf. I grab hold of both scarves and I yank it hard, right? They go tumbling into the snow. They might even hit their head on something. Not that I'd want that, right? And I'd look them in the eye and go, stop it. Now, the thing is, it's not about the words. It's about the energy. It's about the energy. So the energy is like, don't mess with me. Stop it. Right? And that energy, a lot of times, see, bullies pick on people they can pick on, and so they can sense it energetically. So when you are, like, if you're say you're a woman, okay, and you are walking downtown in a new town you don't know, you're meeting friends, you're at a conference, whatever, and it's dark out, and on the street there's not a lot of people. If you hear footsteps behind you, do you cower and go, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, somebody's following me, oh my god, right? Or you could do something else. Now, I know this is going through your head. What do I do? What do I do? Right. It's all about the energy. Now, if there was a perpetrator, if you're looking back and glancing back and being nervous, they're going to sense that. They're going to go, ooh, easy prey, right? But if you're very, very confident and you walk with that confident air. Now, of course, you can do something. If you're concerned, you sense like, oh, I don't know if this person's following me. You'd be like, nowadays it's really easy, right? You just pick up your phone, even if you're not calling someone. You could call someone, or you could pretend you're calling someone. You stop, you just stand by the store, wherever you are. You say, hey, Bob, how you doing? Yeah, I'm on such and such a street. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. Can't wait to see you in a couple minutes. Yeah, so great. Yeah, thanks. Yep. Yeah, and you just, right? And if that guy's like just an innocent guy walking behind you, they'll just pass you, right? Minding their own business, and you're like, oh, okay, so it wasn't a perpetrator. Now I'm walking behind him, right? And if it is a perpetrator, they're like, oh, shoot. They're talking to someone, they know where she is, and yeah, forget that one. And they'll just leave. That's what they do. Imagine the other scenario now where I'm back at school, right? I'm going to the lunch, and Moose is pummeling me with with icicles and that kind of thing. Same thing. It's all about the energy. Turns out she didn't feel very good about herself, and who wants to be called Moose? Seriously, you're a girl, right? She could have been my best friend had I let her, had I done the right thing, had I stood up for myself. And the funny thing is years later, she did friend me on Facebook, and I just almost like burst out laughing. It's like, oh, so funny. And then she has these two little girls who are like in ballet. It's like so cute. It's like, oh my gosh, too funny. Yeah. So, it's like spiritual doesn't mean nice necessarily. In fact, one of the trainings that I went to, I won't tell you which one because it's, private, but they actually gave us a scenario where they had an actor, more or less, come kind of at us. They weren't touching us or anything, but they were doing things they weren't supposed to be doing. Or at least the scenario was they were actually hurting or potentially like lurking near our loved ones. right? Like our children, if we had children or loved one, whatever, they were lurking there. And all we had to do was say, stop. Yeah, seriously. You're like, how hard is that? You'd be surprised. Well, the teachers there would not let us get away with anything but the right energy. Not about the words we said, but literally stop with the energy that was required to make the person stop. You know, there was one lady in the group, not my group, but one lady in the group, and she was swearing at the teacher, calling F words, F bombs, right? But he kept at her and saying, look, it's not the right energy. Let's try again, right? Oh my gosh, I thought she was going to scream. But finally, she said it. And she said it with that authority. And he's like, that's it. But it took her a lot of tries. So this is not necessarily natural to us because we didn't have it modeled to us, that kind of assertiveness. We're either one way or the other. Sometimes, you know, women in particular, they start trying to be assertive and then they flop over to the other side with words that are not necessary because they don't know it's about the energy. And then they're called names like bitch. It's not fair, I know, or witch. Right? Like, I know it's not fair, but it's a way of handling yourself that is like, people don't mess with you. Last example here, you might get a chuckle out of this one. So I used to go to conferences, when medical conferences, acupuncture conferences, things like that, and I'd often be by myself. My husband wouldn't be with me, he'd be working, you know, so I'd go to these conferences, and it was like, I don't know, 70% men, 30% women, something like that. And at the time, I was very self-conscious about being looked at as a potential date or like some guy was interested in me, right? So I was very nervous about that. And, you know, that was the energy that I was emanating, unfortunately, right? So I'd go to these conferences. And then inevitably there would be some older man, sorry to say that, sounds really mean, older man who'd be like, so where are you from? And blah, 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 right? And I was like, so not interested. And I'm like, got a wedding ring, buddy? Can't you see the wedding ring, right? Oh, they don't care, or they're not looking. Anyway, so what I would do to defend myself was I'd still be nice, okay? I'd still be nice, but I didn't know what else to do. So what I ended up doing was becoming more masculine. So you're going to laugh at this one. So we're in class, right? And I knew someone's interested in me, or they like trying to sit next to me or trying to ask me for lunch or whatever, right? And I would kind of skirt around the issue. And then in class, I'd be like, my hand would be up. I'd be asking the teacher questions. And I'm pretty smart, you know, and, you know, some of the guys didn't really study, right? So I'm like, oh, well, you know, sir, in chapter blah, 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 you said this. What does this actually mean? Because I'm thinking da, 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 right? And I become so analytical, so masculine energy, these guys, whatever, would back off. You know, like if they had said like, oh, you're so beautiful today, I'm like, right? Like, I don't know what to do with that, right? Like, I'd be so scared, like, oh, thanks, you know, and just shy away. I'd just be so mousy and so afraid because I wanted to be nice. I don't want to piss them off. I didn't want to, you know, make them feel bad. I felt responsible for how they felt. Like, you know what I mean? So I ended up with this hard masculine shell, which I used as my protection because there was no man there to protect me. My husband wasn't there. He wouldn't have known how to do it anyway. But anyway, I thought my then husband. Next scenario. Now this is real, guys. Okay. So nowadays, if I go to a conference, you know, I can be myself, fully myself, whether that be the divine feminine, whatever, right? And if some guy expresses some interest in me, depending on, you know, how forceful he is or how assertive or aggressive, whatever he is, I feel completely fine in being myself. I don't have to hide my femininity. I don't hide who I am, but I can be very blunt. And you're like, oh, well, that's not very nice. I'm like, Well, and who's the perspective? It's nice to me, right? So if a guy came up and said, "Hey, you are gorgeous," I'd be like, "Definitely I am. I appreciate that you noticed." Right? Because that's how I would answer these days, right? They might be taken aback a little bit because they're trying to come on, they're trying to like flirt or whatever, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I am." And well, I may actually put in there, and my husband thinks so too, right? I might do that, but I don't need to, because the energy that I'm emanating is not that it's not nice, but it's like boundary, right? But I'm also confident. So if somebody says I'm nice or whatever, I mean, sometimes, there could be still negative people who are catcalling, you know, "Hey, baby, sexy baby," whatever. Can you imagine just going, "Thank you, have a nice day," and just keep moving? As opposed to like walking quickly, trying to get past these guys, right? Perhaps, if you're really skilled. Okay, well, you might argue that I'm getting into my matron years, but but can you imagine, just imagine a moment that this might happen again, right? And I'm walking and this happens, and to be able to emanate purposefully a motherly energy. Now, of course, I do this better now because I'm older, but this motherly energy, and be able to say, "Have a nice day," you know, or and I'm not much for joking around with people, just because I'm just not really fast. I'm not that witty that way. But just being able to be yourself, be fully confident, and having good boundaries. Like, say, somebody, I don't know, puts their arm around me and it's like not welcome. Right? In the past, I'd be like shirking and going, "Oh my God, like somebody please rescue me," right? Nowadays, I'd be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, stranger. This is off limits to you. Don't touch me." Right? And loud enough that everybody else can hear. Right? I mean, it sounds hysterical. No, but seriously, I would do that. The person would be so embarrassed, they'd probably run away, right? But you see what I mean by that energy? Now, you could say, "Well, that wasn't very nice." But was I mean? No, I wasn't mean. I didn't say he was an a-hole. I didn't call him names. It was nothing like that. I'm just saying, "Hey, here's the boundary. No touchies. This is not okay. Get out of my space," right? Like, that is okay. That's completely okay. So I want you to marinate on this a little bit, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a very sensitive woman, a sensitive spiritual woman. Where have you allowed yourself to be preyed upon because you thought you had to be nice? Because spiritual people are nice, aren't they? Right? Where have you not also been nice to yourself because you thought you had to be nice? Saying that's not okay is not nice. And in fact, maybe it is nice. Why is it nice? Well, maybe I'm pleasant for the other person. I'm not saying it's pleasant. Maybe I'm pleasant for the other person to receive, but guess what? Maybe you have taught him or her, "Hey, wait a second. Not everybody's a pushover. Not everybody's a mat. And boy, this was embarrassing. Maybe I should think twice about doing this again." Right? So you can have other defense mechanisms. It works. It can work. But what if you were your authentic self? You love yourself so much that you have those healthy boundaries and you're willing to stick up to those boundaries, because the number one person you need to be nice to is yourself. So I hope that you have enjoyed this episode of Light Warrior Radio. Remember that Light Warrior embraces self-mastery, self-discovery, and self-empowerment, illuminating our shadows to inspire peace, purpose, and passion. Thank you so much for tuning in to Light Warrior Radio today. If this episode resonated with you or gave you a chuckle, please give it a like and share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're watching this on a platform where there are comments, let's stay connected, you and me. I'd love for you to join my light medicine community on Circle if you haven't already. We have tons of sensitive souls in there. It's a beautiful sacred space where we can come together and love and support each other. And I'll put the link in the show notes below. Hope to see you there. Until next time, bye for now.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you resonate with this message, please hit like and subscribe and perhaps share it with someone who's like-minded, who you think might benefit. And in the meantime, I would love for you to connect with me in my private light medicine community. It's free to join and it's for sensitive souls who desire to love and support each other. So I'll put the link below as well as other exciting offerings for this week. Much love. Thanks for watching.